very much, and thank you everybody for joining us today. Um, so today we're going to be talking about filing taxes and hopefully saving some money as a freelancer. I like to call it death in taxes because it's inevitable, but it's also freelance and filing taxes webinar. And we're going to be hopefully answering a lot of your questions, especially if you're new to the freelance world and haven't filed your taxes as a business before, as well as hopefully I can help some of the I don't want to say older freelancers, but perhaps more seasoned freelancers also hopefully save some money too. So let's get started. All right, first up is a disclaimer. I am offering tax guidance based upon many years of personal experience filing taxes. I've been doing my own taxes for 8 years, and then after that I found a tax professional to help me because my business grew to the point where I couldn't do them myself anymore for an additional, I believe, 9 years after that. So I have a lot of guidance based upon that experience, but please note that I am not a tax professional. I'm not certified in it. So if you do need more detailed tax advice and help, please definitely contact an accountant or a tax professional. With that said, let's get started. First, you have to acknowledge the inevitable. As a member of a governing country, we have to pay taxes. We don't really have a choice in this. I think we would love to have a choice as to see where our taxes go, but we kind of have to do it. So therefore, we need to know what to do. My second point is this, and this is a really big point. The point of having a business is to be successful. If you are successful, it means you're going to have to pay taxes, but you have to look at this in a really positive light. My accountant said this to me. If I'm paying taxes, and especially if I'm paying a significant amount of taxes, it means my business was successful that year. It means that I made money and that I've made, hopefully, a lot of creative and wonderful projects that year. So it's kind of one of those things. It's an inevitable thing, but because I was successful, I have to pay the taxes. I have to pay the taxes because I was successful. So we kind of have to acknowledge that. It's a good thing, sort of. Who should file? And this is a big one, because we're talking to creatives here. Designers, illustrators, and authors who made more than $600 in freelancing money in the past year. I'm taking personal jobs or technically your full-time real job out of the mix. We're talking freelance here. So if you made more than $600 in freelancing in the past year, you are obligated to report it to the government. This is something else that's very big. In order to prove that you can claim this money, you have to make sure you have a business and not a hobby. With everything that I'm going to be telling you today, hopefully will help you prove this. The government likes to say, especially for freelancers, especially for artist freelancers, that your business is a hobby. You like to draw pictures. That's a hobby. That's not a business. What we have to make sure we do is that it is a viable business, and yeah, you may not have made a ton of money at it, but it's still relevant. So let's talk about that. You need some forms. I wanted to get this out of the way right away because you're going to need to fill these out. In fact, I'm going to be focusing a lot on the Schedule C as we go through this presentation. The Schedule C is your main document that you need that talks about profit or loss from a business. Hopefully it's a profit. You may also need several other forms. As you can see them listed below, it's the SE, the self-employment tax, the 4562, and the 8829. You also will probably need some files to help you get through these in addition to this webinar today, because things can get a little tricky and you may need more information. 535 file, it's a PDF file, is a business expense file, and it can talk you through pretty much everything you need. IRS.gov is now, fortunately, a wonderful source for information. They've pretty much redone the entire website. It is very easy to find information that you need. And their PDFs and the writing of the PDFs are way more understandable than they were even a few years ago. So it's a lot more consumer friendly now, or I would say business friendly now, and you can actually understand what they're talking about. You may also need a couple other forms, or I'm sorry, files, 463 and 542. Again, these are PDF files. I call them explanation files, so they can help you figure out what you need. All right. Here's a big question. This is one of the questions I get asked all the time. Should I have a CPA do it, a certified public accountant or a tax professional, or can I do it myself? That's a really big question. As I mentioned, I did it myself for 8 years, and then after that I turned it over to an accountant because I just couldn't handle it anymore. It got too big, which is a good thing. So it's going to come down to a couple things. One of them is comfort level. I grew out of my comfort level. I needed help. Outside of your day job, and it is just a little bit of freelance money here or there, and you normally take care of your own taxes as it is, you can probably handle this yourself. If you're already seeing an accountant, you might want to just turn it all over to them because they're going to be able to do it probably better than you, and you probably don't want to tackle your personal taxes anyway.